Wow, time for some fruits. Wow. If these birds don't want to give me rest, I know how I will deal with them using this net. So this is what happened right here. If you ever wanted a tiny tomato, the tomatoes by the wall. Well, we have something that nature has gifted us right here. And you see, it's already going into flowering, and soon we may get fruits. So what really happened here? I planted F1 hybrid seeds, and of course I used some containers to just help me going, because I use water from the kitchen. And you see, at the moment I have like 2 clusters of fruits for every plant, and some have the 3rd cluster already forming, which is quite amazing. So one thing I've appreciated is the importance of the containers, especially if you don't have a lot of water. The containers are amazing, because just a little water. Actually, I've been doing some live episodes, and you've been seeing how much water I've been giving all my plants, and I've just been studying under the tomatoes to just check, because if you mess up with the watering of the tomatoes, you know you will not get good tomatoes. Well, here's a close look, just checking under the fruits, and so far you can see the fruit is clean, really nice and clear, nice shape. And whoever came up with the genius way of growing tomatoes by removing all the suckers, well, can I say thank you today, because I have plenty more tomato plants. And I started with a few containers. Remember during the night garden when I was transplanting my tomatoes? And now I have so many other plants just from a few containers. But definitely, when you remove the suckers, you find that the fruits on the main stem, they perform quite nice, and the plant looks stronger and healthier, unlike one plant that is bushy with so many leaves all over, and also just supporting the plant would be an issue. So definitely removing the suckers is a game changer. So far I've managed to have to maintain like healthy leaves on the tomato plants, apart from one that looks funny, but it has the ripe fruits already covered. But the good thing is that the method of just removing the lower leaves, getting rid of any excesses, really helps when you're growing tomatoes in your garden, because now the concentration is just on the fruits and flowers. And as you see, as the plant is pushing up, it is continuing the same trend of setting the flowers and fruits. And look at this. So this is the first one, this is 2, and this is 3. So I removed all the lower leaves and also the suckers, and now it's just a matter of continuing to support and waiting for the fruits to grow and mature. If you follow my videos, you know that I love experimenting in my garden. I love being known as the experimental gardener. So I have another experiment for you. Notes from the experimental garden. So these are the suckers that I've been getting from the main tomato plants and just transplanting. They start off quite small like this, and these ones were really small, and I just covered them. But so far they have survived so well. I documented this whole process. When you follow my tomato live episodes, everything that I've done, how I was cutting the suckers and transplanting them. And these were the first group when I was making the containers and just transplanting, and so far we see that it's already going into flowering and it needs support, and looks like we may also have to check and transplant some more. Okay, so these ones, all these plants started really small like this, and every time I was getting a sucker from this side, majority of them had the flowers. They had flowers that were just looking like this. But then one thing I was doing as I was transplanting my suckers was removing the flowers. But the question is, what if you do not remove the flower from a small sucker? Okay, here we go. See this one here. The plant is really small, but I left some flowers here and also here. So we usually wonder, can fruits grow? Sure. You will get a fruit. But the question is, how strong will this plant be to support fruits of that size, good quality size, if it is this small? And definitely you see, instead of the plant giving attention to growth and looking good and fast, developing a strong root system, getting more leaves so that the plant can take in enough water to build a strong stem so that it can be able to support heavy fruits, because they are quite heavy. It's focusing on setting the fruits and big fruits, you see. So if you leave the flowers, this is what will happen. So every time you transplant the suckers and the plant is too small, just remove the flowers and let the plant focus on growth and development. So it's not a myth that people say just remove the flowers. No, there's a reason, and today I've answered the question, should I deflower the small plants? Open pollinated seeds. Yes, you got it right. Open pollinated seeds. You can see that the ground is concrete, and yes, some plants can survive and grow from the cracks. And here I have an exceptionally strong tomato plant that has been roughed when people were just passing by, and one of the plants got cut from this point, but you see already the sucker is still alive. So that's why I thought, even if somebody cut it, I said let me just leave it, and you see for sure they're coming up from the side. So what's the benefit of these open pollinated seeds? These are gifts from nature. I haven't added anything. I've not given it my fermented tea or anything. I haven't added soil to the bottom. I just brought this container, and I think I did a video of different ways you can just use containers in your garden to help you, different ways you can cut it. I think you can watch the video. Now this open pollinated seed is performing quite well. What you have seen the other corner is the F1 hybrid seeds, but we very well know that when you replant the F1 hybrid seeds, you don't get the original traits from the F1 hybrid seeds. That's why they insist that you don't replant the seeds. But what we have here is open pollinated seed that has been brought by the birds, the wind, the moth, and look at this right here, you see. So that is what I'm talking about, open pollinated seed. So when you replant this open pollinated seed, it means you will get the traits from the original plant. And usually these plants that can survive with it, no, I don't even give attention to coming to water the plant and every time, but the plant is thriving, really doing well. So it's quite strong, and I'm just waiting for the fruits to come in. It will be interesting to see the size of fruits. Of course, I'll just support it right here but I'm thinking of transplanting part of it. And that is possible because I'll just get the suckers from the plants and transplant it elsewhere. So I want to do another experiment, of course, experimental garden, and just cut it and replant it elsewhere, because I really want to know what quality of fruit I will get from this. If I get to replant once, I have to wait for the fruits to grow, ripen, really nice mature fruit, so that I can get good seeds. Then I can replant it, and for sure you'll get that progress as you follow my videos. And so, you know, apart from the open pollinated seeds, the F1 hybrid seeds, you also have the heirloom seeds. I've been trying to get my hands on the heirloom seeds. I hope I do get some. I do have some beans, and right now I'm going to get tomatoes, and I'm hoping soon. These ones don't really look like cherry tomatoes. They look quite big, because for cherry tomatoes I noticed they look small. So this one I think is the big tomato, and I do have this open pollinated seed elsewhere, so let's head right there. Well, here we are, another section where I had the sunflowers that the birds really enjoyed, and I left the stalks for support, and for sure it will come of help, because once this tomato, I'm ready to support it, I will just pull this one, and it is quite strong. So this is another volunteer plant, open pollinated seed, and actually when I was supporting it, it broke. And what I did, I laid it down from that point here, attached this down here, because I know that tomatoes can grow roots from the stem. I did remove some suckers and just plugged them right there. And now we see that this is 1, 2, this is 2, this is 3 already. Coming back to this side, I see it is already here. This is 1 cluster, that should be 2, that one should be 3. So performing quite well. And do note that the plant is coming from here, so I chose not to separate it, but to lay this down so that I can increase the area where the plant has formed roots, so that it can take in enough water and survive. So what happened, this other side, you see that here I have tomatoes that look ripe, but let's check the bottom, because I've not been really keen on the watering. You see, and actually it broke from this point, so I just decided to leave. These are leaves that I cut. If you follow my live episode, you will see what happened clearly. So I decided to leave it, but you see what has happened. It's still looking good, and the other fruits are looking good. So for me, open pollinated seeds are just gifts. If you get them in your garden, don't struggle to remove them and throw them away and really believe the hybrid seeds are the best. For sure, the hybrid seeds are crosses just to ensure that the tomato has a long shelf life, a particular color, and a particular size. They have been made to be like the perfect fruit size. But then, if you want to save seeds, which is so important for every person that loves nature, saving seeds is just important. So imagine that we are going into a world that will be seedless, and if the seeds are very expensive, it means even gardening, something that you just enjoy doing, going out and just planting and just experimenting and seeing something grow, will be so hard if you don't have the thousands that they need to buy the seeds that you want. Other fruits so far are looking good, and I'm following up on the watering. so there's no blossom, more blossom end rots. So since it has survived for that long with all that neglect, let me give it more attention. Well, this particular plant has not performed that well, but at least it has some fruits. So let us see what we have right here, and if you would appreciate. Wow, look at that. What happened right here? See, I don't know, but the leaves and the plant is quite small. This is how tall the plant is compared to the others with so many fruit clusters, but the fruits are quite nice, clean, the perfect produce that people like, the F1 produce. So it will be good to see what we get from the open pollinated seed, but so far I'm happy with what I have here. Perhaps maybe if I choose not to remove the whole plant, another option would be just to let this sucker grow and take over. See, and I'll just cut the leaves because the leaves don't look quite good. So I will remove the leaves and let the suckers take over, then start the support again, because I still have the others that are coming up. So wow. Well, you might be wondering, why is it that I have a net right here covering the, look at this, covering the fruits. Well, the birds will not give me rest, and they started with one. You see that right there? That was a ripe tomato from oh wow, there's another one. Okay, it was from right here actually. This is it. This is the exact, yes, this is it. This is where I got it from. And the birds will not give me rest. So my strategy is usually to just support the plants with this net and use the same net to cover the fruits. At least when I conceal the fruits, I can come get fruits later when I'm ready. And a different strategy would be, if you don't have something to cover the fruits, you would time when the fruits are at a certain stage. For instance, if I do harvest this one and I leave it just on the counter, this one will ripen really well. But if you do it too early, like let's say this one, it may not ripen well. You may not get a good tomato. But if you see that the skin is becoming clear and somehow you can see inside, you can see the veins inside, that means it's good enough for harvesting. And if the birds are really not cooperating with you, then you can harvest and just place them, wait for them to ripen. And of course, if you have a big harvest, that would be the perfect time just to harvest and wait for them to ripen safely if you don't want the birds to enjoy all the fruits.